pharmacy, it was a key pillar and element in the process of healing. In 2 Kings chapter 2 and chapter 4, we have a record of both Elijah and Elisha, the prophets, in their ministry, and encountering diseases. Some of the diseases included leprosy, infertility, barrenness, miscarriages, and they also encountered other death-causing diseases. In these two brief narratives, we see a great deal of what we would call pharmaceutical practices manifested as they are practiced in different ways and using variety of ingredients on top of what I will call additionally on top of the spiritual invocations that we are accompanying them. It is evident, therefore, from Scripture that it was also affecting people in terms of their health. Elisha has an opportunity in this episode to participate with the people of Jericho in looking for solutions. The water was causing danger in life. Some commentators say the water was probably from a major spring and it turned to be blackish, and when used for irrigation or for consumption, would cause crops to dry and not nourish them. I found it very interesting how Elisha intervened. He requests for a bowl, a new one, and he requests for salt. And he pours this to the spring, bringing about a solution to the water. 2 Kings, the next episode, there was an incident of food, sort of food poisoning, and the people having trouble with the stew they had taken because it was during the drought season. And in the process of putting together a stew, some poisoning had happened due to some of the herbs they used. Elisha requests for flour. And when he utilizes that, he gets a solution to the community. I propose this morning from Scripture that first and foremost, Elisha portrays the centrality of involving the community. That's what you're calling the patient-centered. And you notice that he is asking them to bring a bowl, them to bring a salt. He's asking them to bring about flour. And the Bible records, and the people brought it to him. I think that's one key element that the Bible anchors our conversation today of people-centeredness. Here is a demonstration of Scripture that even when practice of medication was being undertaken, the people were not sidelined, they were partakers. He did not ignore these people, but he asked them to bring some of the items. Secondly, I want you to mark he utilizes what was available and affordable for the people. He says to them, bring flour. These are things they knew. Bring salt. These are things they would grab from their houses. He utilized what was available to administer this kind of service. And my desire and my prayer is that as we enter to this conversation, which is themed under and advancing the practice of pharmacy through patient-centeredness, we have no better framework than the Scriptures telling us how much God involved people, how much he used what was available and affordable to them, but also that can shape and inform our conversation through a day. So as we come, it is our prayer that we will be anchored in Scripture, and particularly to see how Scripture, how God utilizes and gets people engaged in these kind of interventions that we read in Scripture today. Using, flour, using salt, and using what was available to the people. Elisha, through such interventions, was able to offer his pharmaceutical practice in a unique way that he shows he engaged the people themselves. But he also utilized what was available and what was affordable. Lord, I pray that this conversation Vice Chancellor, that our conversation today will not just be around this place in the walls of this room, but will challenge us to take our stewardship responsibility as we become innovators in a world that is confronted by many unrelenting infections and challenges. Lord, I pray that as Elisha did demonstrate the place of innovation in attending and intervening medically, that many of us will find it useful to begin to look around us and see what can we utilize and how can we make use of those who are patients to partake in the process. I pray that, Lord, will in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Mutuku. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat, our speakers, guest speakers, Mr. Imran Yusuf, Dr. Okemo, members of University Management, members of faculty, students, good morning. So welcome to the Kabarak University Annual International is a reputable institution founded and rooted in Christian values, liberal arts, science, and technology. Our annual International Research Conference embodies our commitment to holistic education. This conference holds great significance to our School of Pharmacy because this is our inaugural International Pharmacy Conference. We are thrilled to host this conference and anticipate insightful discussions and advancements. Your presence will contribute to its success. Welcome to the Kabarak University Annual International Research Conference, and together let's advance pharmacy through patient-centered innovations. I'd also like to recognize the organizers, the research conference moderator, Dr. Rose Obat, who has been very instrumental, and the Directorate of Research, who have assisted us in launching this conference. It is now my due pleasure to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Research, Professor John Ochola, who will give his remarks. Karibu. Thank you.
Kabarak University. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Frederick Odhiambo, the Director of Public Health and Sanitation, Kisumu County, representing Dr. Patrick Amoth, Director General, Ministry of Health. Mr. Odhiambo is yet to join us. We pray for journey mercies for him. Our guest speaker, members of the university management, the acting dean for the School of Pharmacy, Dr. Richard Kagia, deans of schools present, directors, heads of departments, faculty members from the School of Pharmacy and other schools in the university, our esteemed students from the School of Pharmacy and other schools in the university, all conference participants who are present physically and those following us online, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are delighted to gather here this day for the Kabarak University 13th International Research Conference, and for the first time as the first annual International Research Conference for the School of Pharmacy. Congratulations to the School of Pharmacy for this milestone. Without taking a lot of time, it is a great privilege and honor to have in our midst our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat, and it is my humble duty and privilege to welcome our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat, to make his remarks and to
The keynote speaker, Mr. Frederick Odhiambo. The Acting Dean, School of Pharmacy, directors, faculty members, students, all conference participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We are gathered here today to celebrate the official opening of the inaugural annual International Research Conference for the School of Pharmacy and the Kabarak University 13th International Research Conference. The theme of this year's conference class graduated in December 2021. And from the beginning of the School of Pharmacy adopted an approach that aligns academic, scientific, and theoretical knowledge with practical expertise to prepare students for effective delivery of healthcare services. Keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I will take a moment to highlight a stellar performance of our School of Pharmacy. Number one, the School of Pharmacy has so far graduated 91 students, and I am delighted to mention that all the 91 students passed their Stage 1 Pharmacy and Poisons Board in that exam. So congratulations to our 91 students for that achievement. Number two, currently 68 of our graduates are undertaking their internship in various facilities under Due to rapid and continuous changes in health care delivery, the pharmacy profession has evolved from ancient apothecary to industrialization and now to a patient-centered practice that ensures optimal health outcomes. In this regard, our School of Pharmacy is keen on delivering market-driven programs. To this end, the school Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Kabarak University is cognizant of the importance of research in healthcare. For this reason, the university has built capacity for development of health research capabilities through the following. First, the university's internal research fund. This fund is available annually for faculty and whose findings are disseminated during the annual research conference and published in the university research journals. Second, the university is also developing research capabilities in the School of Pharmacy through top-notch research and teaching laboratories. So far, our laboratories have facilitated collaborative research partnerships between the School of Pharmacy of Kabarak University, the School of Medicine and Health Sciences of Kabarak University, and the industry, and more recently with Diasorin, a global leader in diagnostics for biomedical research. Our partnership with Diasorin will generate evidence to The establishment of the Kabarak Journal of Medical, Pharmaceutical, and Allied Sciences is also providing a platform that serves for disseminating health research outputs. And fourth, with support from the university, which is consistent, and we pray that it becomes sustainable over the years, our academic staff in the School of Pharmacy are kept in the cutting edge and have become prolific authors. This year alone, so far, in 2023, between January and, of course, this month, June, our staff in the School of Pharmacy have already published more than 10 papers in peer-reviewed journals. Please help me in recognizing them. Let's give them a strong applause. The keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen, as in all the schools in the university, our staff members in the School of Pharmacy are playing active roles in nation building. In this regard, I am proud to mention that Dr. Suge, the Dean of the School of Pharmacy, who is on leave now, and Dr. Kagia is ably in that position now, in an acting capacity, is a member of the Training and Assessment Committee of the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. That is a great responsibility, and that is a great honor to our university, Kabarak University. I know Dr. Suga is not here, but I am sure we can applaud him, even if he's not. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to declare this conference officially opened. Let me now, ladies and gentlemen, take the opportunity to introduce the keynote speaker and the guest speaker, so that when their times come to make their presentations, they will just be invited to do so. So I begin with the introduction of the keynote speaker. Has he arrived? Not yet, so I will skip that. I can, would you like me to introduce him now, or I can introduce the person who is here? Let me introduce our guest speaker. We are privileged, ladies and gentlemen, to have our guest speaker, Mr. Imran Yusuf Osman, the CEO, Avenue Group of Hospitals. Mr. Imran serves as the CEO of Avenue Healthcare, a renowned healthcare company that has made significant strides under his visionary leadership. Imran Yusuf brings with him a wealth of experience and expertise in the healthcare industry. And with a strong focus on driving innovation and delivering high-quality care, he has held key positions in the industry, demonstrating his ability to navigate complex healthcare environments. As the CEO of Avenue Healthcare, Imran has consistently showcased exemplary leadership skills, propelling the company to remarkable milestones and establishing it as a prominent player in the healthcare sector. His strategic vision and forward-thinking approach have been instrumental in identifying emerging trends and leveraging them to drive positive change within Avenue Healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, recognizing the critical role of innovation and technology in healthcare, Imran has been at the forefront of integrating cutting-edge solutions within Avenue Healthcare. By embracing digital advancements and streamlining processes, he has enhanced patient care, improved operational efficiency, and optimized outcomes. Notably, his recent partnership with Curally and Helios Global Health aims to further improve digital health initiatives within the company. Imran Yusuf's commitment to patient care is unwavering. He prioritizes the delivery of compassionate, patient-centered care and continuously strives to enhance the overall healthcare experience for individuals and communities served by Avenue Healthcare. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor of learning from Imran's insights and experiences as he shares his knowledge and expertise with us. His exemplary leadership, strategic vision, and dedication to improving the healthcare landscape make him an invaluable speaker during this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give undivided attention to the keynote speaker and the guest speaker, and particularly the guest speaker because we are inviting him right now, Mr. Imran Okoth.
Good morning, Vice Chancellor. Pleasure to be named Mr. Okoth. My name is Imran Osman Yusuf, and I have lived in Kisumu for a long time, so it's no wonder that you have picked up Okoth as one of my names. So it's a pleasure being here today, and it's quite an honor to be invited to speak to all of you, and especially those who are actually studying pharmacy and looking forward to getting into the industry. So when I was invited to speak today, we really thought it through, and I have a team who came together and thought about what is the message that we want to give Kabarak University students, and also to inspire you on the next steps that you're getting into. Whereas the theme of the conference has been already mentioned, but one of the things that we thought of is speak about pharmaceutical care and practice, but look at the perspective of how leadership can support pharmaceutical practice in healthcare. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So the presentation is not very long. I'll cover a few areas where we'll talk about Avenue Group so that you know who we are, where we're coming from, and where we're going, and also being your potential employers of choice in Avenue. We'll talk about what is pharmaceutical care, the changing role of the pharmacist as we see it in the healthcare field, clinical governance around Avenue Healthcare, and perhaps most of the institutions that you will eventually go on to work in, and also digital transformation where we're bringing patient-centric care, and what are the innovations that Avenue has embarked on. The other thing that I really want to speak about is from the perspective of a pharmacist, a qualified pharmacist, and in that so an oncologist pharmacist, I asked him, what do you think is the things that a pharmacist needs? So you need to start making that list, and when you select your employer of choice or where you want to practice, please take that into account. And then what can leaders do to make pharmaceutical practice thrive? And that's from our perspective as senior leadership team from Avenue Healthcare, and our perspective of how we want and we continue to support the pharmaceutical as a practice. And I will close with a very small presentation to show you where medicine is going. So Avenue Healthcare is part of a larger entity. It's formed of 3 companies: Avenue Healthcare, Avenue Home Care and Pharmacies, and Avenue Rescue, which is owned by Avenue Group. But we don't stop there. Our Avenue Group actually goes beyond Kenya. It goes above Kenya and it goes through Dubai and US. We are owned by IFC Global, CDC, DFC, Melinda Gates Foundation, and managed through something we called RISE Fund through the TPG. Our global network covers not only in Kenya, we are in Nigeria, Lekki, we have hospitals in Bangladesh, we have hospitals in Pakistan, Lahore, and we have several hospitals and diagnostic centers both in South Asia and in Pakistan and India through Care India platform. Avenue Healthcare in Kenya has 3 hospitals, one in Parklands, Nairobi, the second one in Thika, and the third one in Kisumu. And we have 17 outreach clinics cutting across Kenya, one especially in Nakuru at Apollo Center in here. We also have clinics in Mombasa, Kisumu, Nanyuki, Kikuyu, and several other areas in the country, including Nairobi region. So, what is pharmaceutical care? According to definition, pharmaceutical care is the pharmacist's contribution to the care of individuals in order to optimize medicine use and improve healthcare outcomes. The goal of pharmaceutical care is to optimize patients' health related to quality of life, achieve positive clinical outcomes within realistic economic outcomes. And I'll pause there for a moment. It is important for you to realize that in the universal healthcare field and in the universal healthcare concept, we're talking about providing essential healthcare. Not just any healthcare, but that which is essential, of good quality, and that which is affordable. And this is all about what you're going to drive in the market as you go out. It is simply put that it is essential and reliable care that has to be affordable. You cannot provide healthcare that it is quality, but it is out of reach. You cannot provide specialist healthcare that is not required within the community that you serve, and therefore you will not be doing justice. The pharmacist's role in the industry has continuously evolved. In 1978, I believe the first pharmacist qualification happened. In 2003, we had the first B-Pharm coming in, and now in the 20th centuries, we're looking at doctorate in pharmacy. This is not a small feat, but pharmacists' role is changing in the industry. And from our perspective as the private sector, who have been working closely, we're seeing that previously the pharmacist was only looked as an expert in medicine, and there would only be people who dispense, are called for advice, and whether they stock in or stock out. But the pharmacist's role now in the real world is changing towards becoming part of the caregiver. The pharmacist is committed to person-centered care by ensuring high-quality use of medication. It is not just a factor of or a task of dispensing drugs and speaking to the patients at the end of the day or at the end of the queue. You are now becoming part of an integral patient-centered care. And if you see on the slide, in Avenue, for example, we're evolving the pharmacists to be part of ward rounds, to speak to physicians, nurses, dentists, general public, in and outpatient and allied health, and contribute to the outcome of patient care. At Avenue, for example, and much within other institutions' copy, we also look at our clinical governance. And in the clinical governance space, we have different committees. As you can see, we have Health Executive Committee, Medical Advisory Committee, Infection Prevention Control, Mobility, Mortality, Occupational Safety, Theater Users, Education and Research Committees. But one that stands out for today is Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee. And this committee is actually a very critical one within Avenue Healthcare. This is a typical organization structure that you will come to see when you join a healthcare institution. In Avenue, we did not have the green slots for a long time, and much within detrimental of quality, we then decided a few years ago to make sure that a pharmacist is available at every clinic or every hospital within Kenya. The pharmacist particularly works both top and going up and down. Why do I say this? The pharmacist's role is connecting the senior leadership team through the chief medical officer's office, and also connecting the hospital managers and the patients down the cadre. And you connect each of this. Why? Because the patient actually revolves around you, and you will see that in the next few slides. The pharmaceutical practice in Avenue revolves around four particular key pillars: formula review, antimicrobial stewardship, patient-centeredness, accreditation, and patient safety. The pharmacy team is led by a clinical pharmacist in Avenue. We are introducing pharmaceutical care in all our services, and the introduction of pharmacy student mentorship program has already begun. This, in particular, is very important because in the Pharmacy and Therapeutic Committee, the clinical pharmacist contributes to the antimicrobial stewardship and contributes to the research program that we have embarked on. Each of these committees operates within some framework. This is an example of Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee framework where it is chaired by a senior physician, but it is vice-chaired by the hospital pharmacist, a critical leadership role that has been defined within the institution. Other members include physicians, other specialties, nursing, and infection control. Some of the objectives that I'll mention are, for example, monitor and evaluate medication-related adverse events, and also oversee the antimicrobial stewardship program within Avenue Healthcare. The other key committee that we have formed at Avenue, which perhaps would be interesting to you, is Patient-Centered Care Committee. And why do I bring this up? Because the pharmacist has actually been incorporated as a key member of this committee, including physicians and nursing and infection control. So over here, we are looking at promoting effective communication between patients, families, and healthcare providers. So as I mentioned, the pharmacist becomes a bridge within. Each of these committees operates within key performance guidelines and key performance indicators. They meet at every monthly frequency of every month, and also report to the CMO's office and the quality office. Avenue Hospital has also embarked on digital health transformation journey. In the medication management use, we have embarked on 5 key pillars where we're looking at: introduction of computerized physician order entry, both in inpatient and outpatient. Why have we done that? It basically reduces transcription errors and also dispensing errors. So the physician is able to directly input the prescription that they would like, and even orders that they would like to the lab, which reaches the destination of the dispensing window in no time. We have automated reorder levels to minimize stockouts and ensure continuity of drug that are critical. The HMI system in the digital platform has active flags that look at high alert medication flags, and also look-alike, sound-alike markers on the system to prevent and reduce medication errors. But above all, Avenue Healthcare operates a single EMR, a single electronic medical record that has continuum of care, both from primary care, secondary care, tertiary care within the hospitals, and quaternary care when we transfer patients outside of the country. But in addition to that, this EMS, electronic medical records, prevents patients from repeating tests, and also it gives a history of the patient's drug reactions and also the medications that they are on within the continuum of care framework that enhances patients' outcome and also prevents repeat tests and also reduces the cost to the patient. One of these programs has actually been launched, and Vice Chair mentioned that we have partnered with Helios Global. Helios Global has an entity in Kenya. It is a German company based out of Germany which sees over 12 million episodes a year, and also has 120,000 staff. Helios Global has come all the way to Kenya to partner with Avenue through a Curally platform. The Curally platform is a chronic care platform, and when I said continuum of care through a hospital management information system, what I'm talking about is preventative health. And Avenue Healthcare has piloted for the past 6 months and achieved reduction in patient care cost for chronic care patients. And these are patients who have diabetes, hypertension, or both diabetes and hypertension. In fact, studies have shown in the past 6 months that we've brought the cost to the patient right down from $2,200 per annum to $1,200 per annum, which is a 50% reduction to the patient. Through this chronic care program, pharmacists have participated very closely in defining what drug reactions there are, what drugs are essential, and what preventative metrics can we use to measure and also reverse diabetes in patients. So I welcome you to join in this research as we embark further. So in summary, what are some of the most impactful changes in pharmaceutical practice that we see from the private healthcare space? Specialized pharmacy in oncology and clinical pharmacy is key, and I'm so happy to hear Kabarak is embarking on that, because Avenue Healthcare in all its 3 hospitals have started the program of oncology. I would be happy to send some of our students and our staff to train through Kabarak University. We have also embarked and emphasized on multidisciplinary approach to healthcare, which includes medication management and use, including ward rounds with the pharmacists. So in this particular space, every clinic or every ward round happens with a pharmacist on board, whether it's in Kisumu, Thika, or in Nairobi in the inpatient spaces, and in the outreach clinics where the pharmacist is part of a team of quality staff who go around even in the clinics to measure. So the role of the pharmacist in MMU is critical, and we're enhancing it. We're looking at value-based through chronic care program models, through package programs that not only help the patient in their care, but also impact affordability. We have set up committees such as PTC and PCC that I mentioned, and these committees have seen the pharmacist's role enhanced and the voice of the pharmacist rise up and contribute to the care of the patient. One particular area that we have embarked on is supply chain. And in my next slide, you will see one of the key areas or pain points of each pharmacist is drug stockouts. And many in the government institutions as well have this pain of drug stockouts. In Avenue, what we have found is measuring supply chain from end to end, from door to the patient, is so important that we have made this a key metric within our service provision. And lastly, one of the key impactful changes that one could make in the pharmaceutical space is digitization through automations, through physician orders that are automated and simplified, and through the metrics that I mentioned that pick up medication error before it happens. So speaking from the voice of a pharmacist, when I asked the pharmacist, what would you like us to do to make your work more effectively? And this is a key requirement when you go for your interviews. Ask them, do you have the following? And if they have the following, please tell them, I would like to join your institution. One is a good hospital management information system. The system that provides data, collects data, which is good data, allows for planning, provides innovations, and helps you in digitization. Adequate human resource, appropriate number of staff, provision for training and growth, supply chain that is effective and provides timely creditors' payments, an infrastructure that provides storage facilities, cold storage, and the entire cold chain, personal protective equipment, including chemo hoods, gloves, goggles, splash aprons, and so on. So I hope that resonates with you and also with the leadership. But then from an executive perspective, what is it that we feel as leaders we need to support pharmaceutical practice in the working environment, especially and not limited to private sector. We would like to establish a culture of continuous improvement. In this case, it does not stop today when you qualify. You will continuously work in a culture that challenges you for research, and I'm so happy that a lot of publications have happened from Kabarak. I think you mentioned 10 publications happened. Please give yourselves a round of applause for that. Leaders require to set clear goals and expectations for the pharmacist and the pharmaceutical care. The tone at the top needs to be very clear that pharmaceutical care, pharmaceutical practice is integral to the patient care. We must, as leaders, allocate enough resources, not just for the day-to-day running, but also for the research. We must support education and training. We must foster collaboration and communication across the institution so that we can support pharmaceutical. Lastly, where is medicine going? And I challenge you today. Whereas you're going to start this conference in discussion, and I've seen the program, and a lot of research is going into this. There is a lot of talk happening in AI field and so on. But there's one space that perhaps spoke to me most, and that is personalized medicine, while others call it precision medicine. It's part of the genomics. And as you research, when you get out of as you study, and when you get out to graduate, please start in this space. It is an up and coming, and it feeds into antimicrobial stewardship right down to the nth level. And I would really encourage you to take this as core part of your pharmacist's job, which looks at individualized drug therapy based on a given patient's age, size, organ, function, concomitant treatment, diet, allergies, and disease status. So with that, I wish all of you good deliberations for your presentations today and for the next 2 days. Thank you.
Please join me in giving a round of applause to our speaker. Wow, that was beautiful. Vice Chancellor, sir, all protocols observed. Allow me to take a moment to express our sincere appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Abraham, for the insightful presentation that has really enlightened us on the role of a pharmacist in a clinical setup. And that one has set a tone for this conference. Please, let's give him a round of applause once again. My name is Dr. Jim Amisi from the School of Pharmacy. So right now, I want us to engage him in questions so that we can be enlightened more. So without further ado, I open the floor for us to ask questions to our esteemed speaker. And this one, I think the students will be more interested in it because I believe that so many of you may want to go for your attachments and even do your internship in the Avenue group of hospitals. So let me have the microphone. So if you have any question, I want to take the number of students who have questions, the students before I come to staff. How many have questions to our speaker? Any question that you'd like to know from, or you'd like to ask, so that it can be answered by our speaker? Okay, I can see them. Okay, I can see one there. You can also write the questions so that you forward them to me. I'll read them on your behalf. Yes, we have one. Let me see someone else who has a question. Can only see one. Students? Okay, let me have you first. Your question?
Okay. Sorry. Good morning. My question to the speaker would be to expound more on the program, the mentorship program that he talked about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Did you hear him? You can come up again. Come up again.
Okay, my question is, if the speaker could kindly expound more about the mentorship program that he had talked about. He said that Avenue Healthcare has a student mentorship program. Maybe you can tell us more about that. Thank you.
Okay, the next one, the next person.
Yes, morning. I would like the speaker to talk about if the Avenue hospitals have radio pharmacy, and because I'm interested in oncology.
Okay, the next person. Students, you should ask questions. Eh? Okay, let me come to staff. Okay, I can see another student there. Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
My question is regarding the oncology department. What do you intend, or how far has it reached so far?
Okay, that's to the school. It's okay. We'll answer that. Someone else? Okay, let me come to staff. The faculty members, any question that you'd like to ask Mr. Ibrahim? Okay, there's someone here.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Meroka James from the School of Pharmacy. And thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for that insightful presentation. Allow me now I have 3 questions, one of which one of the students has asked, but maybe just to expound on it, on the pharmacy students mentorship program. Kindly, maybe you can elaborate on the space we have for our students. Even at these, they are level to contribute and participate. Number 2, maybe what are some of the biggest challenges facing the healthcare space today, and how is Avenue Healthcare addressing these challenges? Number 3, how does Avenue Healthcare approach patient-centered care, and what steps do you take to ensure that patients feel heard and valued? Thank you.
Please come up again for the last question.
How does Avenue Healthcare approach patient-centered care, and what steps do you take to ensure that patients feel heard and valued?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me come to our speaker so that he may address this question. So the first question, maybe I can just echo them. Please enlighten the students more on the pharmacy student mentorship program that you have at Avenue Healthcare Group of Hospitals.
Those are very good questions. And I think it shows that there's a lot of interest in also joining Avenue, but not necessarily just Avenue, but private sector. So let me just, I've made some notes. In Avenue, we have something we call mentorship program. And in the mentorship program, if you are assigned, when you apply, first of all, you go through a process of getting on board. We do some tests, both written and oral. And when you succeed, you are entered into a mentorship program. When you join into Avenue, every round that you do, you are actually shadowing the clinical pharmacist or the pharmacist within the hospital. If you're you're rotated within our clinics, then there's a quality team which is actually trained to make sure that you get the right mentorship support throughout. So we're developing that curriculum, and once you come in within the year, you should see that actively, should see that benefiting you actively.
Okay, thank you, Thank you, sir, for answering the questions. Let me take the second question is about radiopharmacy. Do you have radiopharmacy or the practice of radiopharmacy in Avenue?
Do we have what?
Radiopharmacy.
Radiopharmacy.
Yes.
No, we have not started radiopharmacy, but we have just started clinical oncology for now. We've started clinical oncology from a chemotherapy perspective, but the plan is to expand that to having a bunker. So right now, we're still not yet started radiopharmacy.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Then someone else asked, what are the challenges that are currently facing the healthcare, and how do you address this as Avenue?
So one of the main challenges, and we all speak to this, is first of all, access. Number two, affordability. How is Avenue addressing number one? Is through opening satellite clinics right down to the ground. And also we are soon starting something we are calling the ATM of healthcare. What do I mean by that? The ATM of at bringing clinical support to you like what the bank has done to the teller. So how many of you visited the bank? Sorry, the faculty members. When was the last time you visited the bank? A while back, right? Do you remember filling a form? It's been a while back. And to the students, when was the last time you paid or your parent paid for fees by visiting the bank and depositing money? So imagine a world where you don't have to go to the hospital or healthcare facility to get treatment. And that's what Avenue is all about with the partnership that we've gotten into in digital health. And I challenge you to watch this space where we will be bringing healthcare to your home, to your mobiles very soon. And that is access. The second point, which brings the first point together, is affordability. Avenue Healthcare has remained what we in the industry call a tier 2 hospital, but providing a tier 1 quality. So we want to price ourselves at tier 2, remain affordable and accessible to the larger population, but we are bringing in innovative ideas within the field to bring the cost down. And this, one of them I mentioned, is the chronic care program, for example. The chronic care program brought in multidisciplinary teams and also global experts to understand what is the patient's journey, what do they really require, and how do we stop them from coming to the hospital. Can you imagine a healthcare provider thinking like that? It is our core business. If you don't come to the hospital, we are not able to break even, isn't it? But the team actually fought and said, no, we want to go to preventive health. And with the chronic care program, we brought the cost of patient care by 50%, down by 50%. And many a times we've seen diabetes 2 actually getting reversed. So that's how we are actually bringing affordability and access to the patients.
Thank you so much. The last question, you talked about patient-centered care. What are the steps that you've taken as Avenue in order to advance this practice?
So number one, the culture. So let me give you one example. We at Avenue are doing so much, and I'm sure other CEOs in other hospitals are doing the same. At Avenue, I can speak to that. We've brought a lot of changes in the quality of care, first of all, by bringing the nursing leadership as part of the senior leadership team. Previously, the nursing leadership was not part of the senior leadership team. By bringing the pharmacists, the clinical pharmacists, to be part of the leadership within the hospital was something that has not been done. And this actually is the patient in focus. And we brought in a lot of changes within the clinics and the service and the facilities that we operate. But what kept me awake at night as a CEO was, does this affect the patient positively? Does this patient get the care that they need? And every day I would wake up in the morning and think, what does the patient think of our care? Are all these changes that we are making reaching that patient we serve as a patient-centered care hospital? And last year in October, as on the Customer Service Week, we did something that nobody perhaps in Africa has done. I certainly haven't seen that. I don't know how many of you Net Promoter Score, patient satisfaction. Would you know your patient satisfaction or student satisfaction rate here? Faculty members, what's your rate, if you don't mind me asking? So you can see even the leadership would be nervous to say that patient or employee or student satisfaction rate. So what did Avenue do? In the patient service, customer service week, we decided to open proverbially the servers for Avenue and we displayed our patient satisfaction rate in all our facilities. Basically, when you enter into any Avenue healthcare institution, either a clinic or a hospital or patient care areas in the waiting area, you will see a screen that displays our patient satisfaction rate. And down there, you will see the patient feedback, unedited, displaying live. Now, as a healthcare provider, when I was launching this, a banker was sitting next to me. I won't mention which bank. And the banker asked me, Mr. Imran, have you gone crazy? We in banking industry, who actually give money to people, can't dare put our Net Promoter Score in front of our customers. What are you? What are you doing as a healthcare institution putting up your Net Promoter Score out there? And by putting that Net Promoter Score, we got a huge beating. It didn't deter us as senior leadership team. Why? Because the patient had a voice. The patient could speak to me, could speak to my CMO, my chief nursing officer, my GMs, and so on. And one day, we were sitting at a management forum, and on that day, we got 9 hugely negative comments streaming in at 8 a.m. Those comments were so negative that the management forum had to stop on the spot. We dropped everything as management team, and we focused on those 9 patients who had raised their complaints. And we prioritized that patient. At that time, our Net Promoter Score was just below 40%. Sorry, 40. You don't call it percent. You can go negative. Today, in June, I can proudly say the team has hit 79 Net Promoter Score. Satisfaction is not overnight. Satisfaction is a journey. And when you bring the patient at the forefront of care, that's when you realize that the patient actually values you for what you're doing for them. So this is what we are doing in Avenue for patient-centered care in a simpler way.
Thank you so much. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you, sir. Allow me invite our Vice Chancellor to welcome the keynote speaker who is with us now. Vice Chancellor, sir.
We are happy the keynote speaker is here with us now. I almost introduced him in absentia, so let me just introduce him now because he's present. Ladies and gentlemen, our conference today is enriched by the presence of the eminent keynote speaker who will share his experience and insights in advancing the practice of pharmacy We are privileged to have Mr. Frederick Odhiambo, the Director of Public Health and Sanitation, Kisumu County, representing Dr. Patrick Amoth, Director General, Minister of Health. Mr. Frederick Odhiambo, I think I'm in the habit of baptizing people today. Mr. Frederick Odhiambo Oluoch is a highly accomplished professional serving as the Kisumu County Director of Public Health and Sanitation. With an impressive educational background and extensive experience in the field, Frederick has made significant contributions to improving the health sector in Kisumu County. Frederick holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in public health, specializing in public health and general preventive medicine residency program, both from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. In addition, he possesses a master's in business administration with a focus on strategic management from Maseno University. To further augment his expertise, Frederick completed a diploma in pharmacy from Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC. Frederick's dedication and outstanding work have not come or have not gone unnoticed. He was honored with the State Commendation HSC Civilian Division by the former President of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, for his remarkable contributions to the health sector in Kisumu County. Last year, in the month of December, he was awarded the Order of Grand Warrior, OGW, for his exceptional service. And I would like to welcome him to the club because I am also a holder of that one and another one. So with a wealth of experience in public health, pharmacy practice, and implementation of scientific research, Frederick has played a vital role in advancing healthcare initiatives. His expertise extends to clinical trial research and operational research. Additionally, he serves as a part-time lecturer at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, sharing his knowledge and experiences with the next generation of healthcare professionals. Frederick Odhiambo Oluoch's dedication to public health, extensive experience, and academic accomplishments make him an invaluable asset in his role as a Kisumu County Director of Public Health and Sanitation. His contributions continue to shape the healthcare landscape in the county and inspire others in the field. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to join me in welcoming Mr. Oluoch. Am I right? Mr. Oluoch to come and deliver his keynote speech. Welcome. I was keen to know your surname because I baptized somebody today. Karibu. Well done. Asante, Prof.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Well, my name is Frederick Oluoch. I think my profile was there. I'm happy to be here. I take this opportunity first to thank Professor for allowing us to be here and giving us a very good environment. The environment is very conducive, and I think it is favorable for learning. Thank you very much. I'm here to deliver this speech on behalf of Director General for Health. Yeah. And that is Dr. Patrick Amoth. I know, I'm very sure you all know him. Yeah, thank you very much. So that is on advancing the practice of pharmacy through patient-centered innovations. Pharmacy practice, we are very much aware that it has evolved over centuries. And I think Kenya, if you look at the early 1920s, if you study pharmacy, you realize that it started off like having dispensers and then compounders, and then later on, we started now the modern learning of pharmacy. So the first, it was about the product focus, which they were doing more of compounding, then commodity management, and then now we are talking about patient focus. At the lower level, we have different levels of care. And at the primary level, we have the community, and we also have the dispensaries, and then health centers. So now, with the reorientation of healthcare in Kenya into what we call primary care networks, we are having committees within the community who ensure that the health services are offered even at community health level. Again, at the community health level, we have commodity being used there. So that means the pharmacist is very critical at the community level. From the community level, even to the dispensaries and health centers, we still have pharmacy cadres, the pharmaceutical technologists, at dispensaries and even at health centers. But then, we are talking about what we call revolving drug pharmacy. So with that, we are, like now we are moving to what we call revolving drug pharmacy, where people with chronic illnesses can be managed by family physicians. We are talking about family health. So once they've been managed at home or within the community, they can easily walk in to the revolving drug pharmacy within the dispensary or a health center within that community. Then they can get drugs from there. So we have seen advancement in technology in terms of accessing pharmacy information. And anybody who has a smartphone will easily access information on any medicine, but then it is not filtering now the truth, the facts, the real facts about the drugs. As a pharmacy professional, you know the usage. But if somebody is just going to read from the internet and decide to go and buy it, they are not going to have what we call medication use counseling. So some aspect of the information that they're supposed to have known, they're not going to know, including the issues of drug-drug interaction, drug-food interaction, and even the possible side effects, or what we call the adverse effects. So the pharmacists, therefore, need to bridge that gap to ensure there's proper diagnosis and rational use of interventions for each individual. And that is, we are talking about rational drug use. So we have examples of patient-centered innovations. And I'm happy Mr. Imra has talked about patient-centered service. So we are talking about patient-centered innovations. So these are centered in terms of individualized medicine, where we're talking about pharmacogenomics, pharmacoeconomics, and bioinformatics. We also talk about e-pharmacy, One Health, and then we also have medication therapy management. So when we talk about individualized medicine, we still have what is called customizing the treatment choice for individual patients. And when we mention pharmacogenomics, then we talk about medication regimens which are tailored to individual patients' genetic profile to optimize choice, dosing, safety of that drug. We normally have what is called individual variation. When we give drugs, see, normally people react based on what? How do you react to, why do people react differently to drugs? And if you go back, you look at this what we call individual variation, and people vary in terms of race, and how they can, even age, how they are going to break down the drugs once they're inside. I know you know, is absorbed, then there is a pharmacological response. Yes, what we now call we have pharmacokinetics. That process, absorption, distribution, until excretion. We have absorption by what? Transformation, how it is broken down until it is excreted. Then there is the response that the body produces to it. That's called pharmacodynamics. Yes. So with that, we have individual variation, and this is going to inform how somebody reacts to a drug, how long it will take the body, and how they break it down. Then we have pharmacoeconomics, which is basically establishing a balance between the cost and the benefits of medicines to optimize value while minimizing patient expenditure. We are looking at what is going to be the best in terms of pharmacological response. It is going to give treatment at a lower cost. So that's what we are looking at. Is it going to give us the best impact, but at a lower cost? Then we have bioinformatics, which is a combination of statistics, molecular biology, and computer science to restore and analyze biological data. At the same time, you can still use the computers to design a drug product based on the structure, activity. SAR is what? Structure, activity, relationship. So once you know where different components, or the active components of a drug are going to be, then you can play with that, and you can already foresee the pharmacological response and what impact the drug is going to have. So then we have e-pharmacy. And when we talk about e-pharmacy, we are looking at now the clients having access to medication without visiting retail outlets. That is under e-pharmacy. So they can order them online, and we are going to look at that. We have e-prescriptions, where they are scanned physical prescriptions. We have electronic medical records, EMR, where electrically generated and delivered prescriptions. You electrically generate, you just send. I think that's what you're using at Avenue and most of hospitals. Yeah. So then we have even, I think, major hospitals, even in the government, that's what they use. That's the common practice. So once you get out of this, you must make sure that you are computer efficient, because you are going to use more of electronic medical records and even e-prescriptions. We have online shopping, where there is over-the-counter medication selected by the client from our website or through mobile applications. We have examples. You know MyDawa? MyDawa? Yes, so we have MyDawa, and many other pharmacies. They have online or what you call telepharmacy platforms. Telepharmacy platform. So telepharmacy is coming from the word telemedicine. You know telemedicine? You must know what we call e-health. You must know what we call telemedicine. So if you talk about telemedicine, it's about where you can transmit electronically a patient information or even image. So you can take, for example, during COVID-19. At the initial stages, people did not know much about COVID-19 and even diagnosis. So what they'll do, we'll do a CT scan or an X-ray and transmit it electronically to some people, even in the in America, those who had already experienced before. So once this happens, then they will tell you, with this, I think this is what? Classical features of what? Of COVID. So you transmit it electronically. Yes, so that is, so when you do that with the drugs, let's talk about telepharmacy now. Then we have challenges, and here we are talking about regulation of sellers. We have patient safety, because they are not going to interact with the pharmacy professional. We have data security, because the issues of unethical conduct, where there can be things like hacking, and then there's unauthorized access to patient information. Then we also have the quality concerns, because you are not very sure about the storage of these medicines or commodities. So on regulation of sellers, I think recently we saw people selling even prescription-only medicines, and they're selling them online, and we are not sure whether they have even license and whether they're professional. So with that, there's already a breach. One Health approach. So One Health approach, this is where there's a multi-sectoral, collaborative, transdisciplinary approach. We are bringing in the veterinary officers, we are bringing in the agricultural officers, we are bringing in the environment officers, we are bringing in the pharmacists, we are bringing in different, so they come together, and the whole need of this is to see that there is what you call antimicrobial resistance, preventing microbial resistance. Because if we are going to use drugs, for example, antibiotic, we can use amoxicillin, for example. You use it, and then you throw the rest. Just throw it anywhere. Then when rain comes, or any other antibiotic, it will carry it away to the water bodies, or plants will take it up. So when you feed on them, or when you take that water, you are exposed to sub-threshold dose of that medicine. And you know what will happen with microorganisms? They will start developing what? Resistance due to changes, the mutation and the rest. So that is the whole, the whole goal of getting what you call One Health approach, where you have everybody there. So antimicrobial resistance, pathogens spread through communities, food, health facilities, and all that. And we also have vector-borne diseases, which are also rising, and these are transmitted through different vectors. And then we have human-animal zoonotic diseases due to human-animal bonds and the close interactions. And of course, contamination of water for drinking through recreation, and I also said through flooding and sub-threshold when we get disposal of antibiotics or even other antimicrobials. Medication therapy management. So these are a range of services, again, provided by the pharmacists to individual patients to optimize therapeutic outcome and detect and prevent medication problems. So the results here is to review all prescribed medicines and any other over-the-counter medicine or even any herbal products. So most of the time, we even have rehabilitation centers where those who were on drugs are put on treatments so that they recover from that use. So we manage them. We also have other provisions where we have mentalization of training for pharmacists. This one now means to mentalize the capacity to to recognize and engage curiously with one's own feelings. So the whole thing is just to make sure that when you want to give a drug, you can have interaction with the patient, you can talk, and with that, it's more about drug use or medicine use counseling, and then you have interaction, and you understand whether the patient is going to use the drug, whether they had used it before, and whether they're going to comply and adhere to the drug. We also have vaccination in community pharmacies. Like, for example, we have the University of Nairobi, which is training the pharmacists on immunology and vaccination to safely administer vaccines at the primary care outlets. But you see, we know that most of this vaccination, all this is done by the clinical team and even the nurses and the medical doctors. We have coding and coding. So here, developing mobile phone applications to solve various public health challenges, e.g. monitoring adverse drug reactions. And then we have alternative medicine. So alternative medicine, this proper regulation and collaboration between the practitioners and researchers that can improve the treatment options or outcomes. So alternative medicine, we have now the modern medicine, the conservative that we're using, but now there are those people who are using traditional medicines. So most of the time, if you cannot find out whether they are on those other alternative or traditional medicines, you can end up having drug interactions because of herbals, and we can also have herbal intoxications. So this is important for us to have a regulation for this, and I think it is also one of the topics that we are going to talk about. Yeah, thank you. I think that should be all. Thank you. Thank you. I think you take back, and then we get the questions.
Let's appreciate him once again. Thank you so much for that captivating and thought-provoking address. Let me take a few questions. Let me take a few questions from the students and the staff. A few questions to our keynote speaker. I also have another one to Mr. Imram, and this from an online viewer. Few questions? Okay, thank you.
Good morning. I think my question will go to Mr. Oluoch Frederick. I think first of all, I should appreciate him for the work done, because if you look at Kisumu County in his sector, that's the sector for sanitation and public health, I think Kisumu is doing well. I'm saying this because I've been living in Kisumu from 2017, and there's a great improvement. So we need to appreciate him. Now my question is, Mr. Okot, we have a condition like sickle cell disease that is very common in Nyanza and Nyanza Western, part of Coast and Nairobi. I would like to know what is Kisumu County doing, and also the country at large, in ensuring that the condition is actually controlled in terms of medication. For instance, if you are sickle cell disease, if you have the condition, then you need to use hydroxyurea and maybe folic acid. But if we check the price of hydroxyurea, those people who are the real hustlers, they can't afford. Now, what is the government doing? Because if you have a baby with the sickle cell disease, then it means you have to use this hydroxyurea because it prevents the polymerization and crystallization of the hemoglobin S, which reduces the likelihood of the crisis development. So I think having people who are still young, energetic like Okot, they should also push the government so that they come up with a long-lasting solution for the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Someone else?
Okay, my name is Dr. Joseph Chebon, lecturer at clinical pharmacy. Thank you so much, Ulwoch, for your presentation. My question is about your experience, because you are in the top leadership in county. Give us your experience about telepharmacy, or maybe partnership between private, public partnership on telemedicine, and probably how pharmacists, and particularly clinical pharmacists, have contributed on that line. Maybe your experience, or maybe a plan that is there.
I've not gotten the second question, but I believe it's captured. Okay, someone else? Oh, Dr. Pamela is here. Oh.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Imran and Mr. Ulwoch. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Ogaja, and I'm really happy to see Mr. Ulwoch because I was the pioneer CEC for Health in Kisumu County. And I just wanted to get a sense from both the presidents. Dr. Imran gave us a lot of insight on the, how pharmacy and the clinical pharmacy and everything that he presented. But my experience was that we sometimes tend to operate in silos. You have organizations like Avenue doing wonderful things. The county is also doing other great things, but they're not really talking to each other. So maybe the two of them I would like to ask, what are the kind of forums that you have created so that this wonderful exchange of experience and of ideas can filter across with the policy-making level as well as the practice level which Dr. Imran represents? And the other thing that I've not seen in the two presentations, really, and maybe you can just highlight this for us, the role of the pharmacist in quality assurance, especially the quality assurance of medicine. So the clinical practice is great, but if the commodities and the health products and technologies that you're using are not properly quality assured, then you have a challenge. So I'd like to see or to get an understanding. So what have you seen from your own experience of the role of the pharmacist at that level, apart from the clinical services? Thank you very much.
Dr. Kimeto? Dr. Pamela?
Thank you, Dr. Osman, for your good presentation, and Mr. Ulwoch, also for your good presentation. Mine is a comment, a suggestion, kind of. I noticed that coding has been proposed as one of the ways to try and increase the communication between patients and the healthcare providers on the side effects of medications. My two suggestions are: one, when you think of coding, think also of developing an SSD, because as much as the upper cadre, population may have smartphones, the lower who may be using a chatbot, and a chatbot is where you can have machine-human interaction, and the human can ask questions and the chat can answer back. That is going to be easy for the patients instead of them typing in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Someone else? Okay, Dr. Meroka is here.
Thank you so much. I have two questions directed to Mr. Frederick Ulwoch. The first one is we see a lot of unregulated selling of different plant products in the streets in this country. So are there any regulatory structures that as a county in Kisumu that you've set just to see the regulation of the vending of these alternative medicines? Number two, how can pharmacy education now in our practice here be structured to prepare future pharmacists for patient-centered care and innovations? Thank you.
We can take the ones that have been asked. So let me address the questions first to our keynote speaker, then I come to Mr. Imran. So the first one, what is Kisumu County doing in controlling sickle cell anemia, considering the high cost of drugs. That's from one of the participants. You can give it to our keynote speaker. Maybe you can just come up front. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think that was a very, very nice question for us. As we are very much aware that sickle cell, especially along Western Kenya, it's on the rise. We already having collaborations with the different universities. We have Moi University. We have Sickle Cell Foundation. We also have other organizations, even from South Africa. We are working together. And that means that, number one, we are doing newborn screening at UTRH, meaning we want to get these children when they are still young. Research has shown that if you diagnose this sickle cell when the child is still young, then it gives a good outcome, reducing sickle cell crisis, and you will prolong the life of that child into adulthood. The other thing is that with our collaborations, we are providing those sickle cell medications, not just hydroxyurea, but even we also have other blood thinning drugs, and we have other services, including support for even hip replacement. They lose some parts, the joints, at some point. So we are working very hard, and we, as a county, we are even offering what we call couple counseling. Before they get married, we offer counseling. We do sickle cell tests for the couples so that they know, because we are trying to discourage marriage between two sicklers, because you know the outcome. So we do this counseling and education so that you are informed. The other thing is that we also do screening, testing for them. This year, we are going to have a sickle cell conference in Kisumu in October. So we are doing everything possible to make sure that we reverse the rising trend. We have in the whole country, we have around 14,000 every year, children born. And we also have a prevalence of between 1.5 to 4.5. We have screening studies that are going on. The list is having it at 1.2. The highest is having at 4.5. So we are expecting, because they are still continuing, we're expecting it to be just between that 3.5 and 4.5 there. But let's see what happens at the end of it. But we are very much aware about this. We are doing everything possible, making sure there are drugs, not only for sickle cell, but even for hemophilia. We have a hemophilia center at UTRH. Their drugs are also there. This one we do through partnerships. So I think that's sorted. Yeah.
The second question?
Yes, was on.
Okay. Are there any policies that Kisumu County has put in place in order to regulate alternative medicine, the herbs that are sold on the streets?
Alternative medicine. Thank you. I didn't touch on the policy on sickle cell. There is a new screening policy by Minister of Health, signed 3rd of June. It's already released. I have a soft copy there. I think I can share with you. On alternative medicine, I think we'll have a session on it, but as a county, we're embracing this because, you know, the Minister of Health had already given a direction that counties to see how they can integrate alternative medicine with conventional that we have now. So we're already working on this. We have a team. We are working with Maseno University. We are working with Moi. We are working with JQuat to come up with the policy, Kisumu County policy, for integration of alternative medicine in Kisumu County. So I think we are doing something, and we'll talk about this when it's the same, we will talk about alternative medicine, so I think we'll discuss further.
Okay, thank you so much. If I got the question for Dr. Gaja clearly, are there collaborative forums that you have created in order to partner with the private sector in optimizing drug therapy? Is it the question? Yes.
Dr. Collaboration?
With the private sector.
With the private sector?
She addressed this to Mr. Imran and you.
Yes. It was for Mr. Imran. It's okay. But even for the county, like I've mentioned, we have extensive collaborations. We work together. Even if you look at, even if you go and look at publications, even during COVID-19, you will find that we did a collaborative work with the private sector to increase access to even COVID-19 testing. We also did collaborations to bring together provisional health services, support each other, and get diagnosis, referral, and sometimes you get even patients who get to in their facilities who cannot afford. We still come in and engage with them and see that there is no catastrophic expenditure on the side of the patient. But we work together. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. There is an online participant who is telling me that there's a question. So let me confirm with the...
There is one question here. Medication therapy management. This is from Dr. Anthony Yaile. Is the current new pharmacy practice towards making healthcare affordable? How is Avenue Hospital gearing to this, especially for pharmacists? This is to Imran.
That's okay. Okay.
Could you repeat that question?
This is from Dr. Anthony Yale. Medication therapy management, or what we call MTM, is current new pharmacy practice towards making healthcare affordable. How is Avenue Hospital gearing to this, especially for pharmacists?
Right, I forgot to mention that I'm not a doctor. So everybody keep referring to me as doctor. So that is not correct. I am an accountant by profession, but with a lot of interest in healthcare. Been in healthcare for over 16 years. So I'll not venture too much into that question, but I will talk about affordability. And because I'm not a medic, so I will ask Dr. Okemwa if he can assist me where I fail. And Dr. Okemwa is actually a medical doctor based in Nakuru at our Nakuru clinic. Yeah. So Avenue, in terms of medication and management, what we are doing is actually focusing on sourcing and right medication to the right patient. We have focused a lot in quality aspects through COSASA and standards. But what I will speak to is supply chain. We collaborate with a lot of institutions and also within our pharmaceutical industry to pull together all our requirements. What that does is actually gives us economies of scale. And when we get that economy of scale, so we are able to pass on that discount to the patient directly on where we need to. Yeah. So that's what we are doing on affordability, and I hope that helps in some way to that question. Yeah. There was another question on PPP.
Okay, there's another question.
Yeah.
What's the role of a pharmacist in quality assurance in the hospital?
All right, so like I mentioned, in Avenue, we are using COSASA. COSASA is an accreditation body based out of South Africa. It is similar to JCI, but tailored and designed for Africa. COSASA has a chapter for medication management and use. I forget how many measurable elements there are. And this chapter is actually headed by the pharmacist and a quality farm tech who support the entire program. And this particular chapter actually helps us uplift our quality of care and how the pharmacists now get involved in quality.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
There's another one from Dr. Suge to Dr. or to Mr. Imran. No, let me read this one first. That is it possible to have or to partner with the Avenue Health in the training of our students? Is it possible to have a MOU?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we already started for charting one.
Thank you. There's another one here. I'm trying to get it. Okay. This is from Dr. Suke. Medication therapy management is the current new pharmacy practice towards making healthcare affordable. How is Avenue Hospital gearing towards this, especially for pharmacists?
No.
I thought Mr. Imran had already answered that, but maybe I can take two. So my name is Dr. Okemwa, a real doctor, not like Imran. Yeah, so kindly come up again with the question.
Medication therapy management is the current new pharmacy practice towards making healthcare affordable. How is Avenue Hospital gearing towards this, especially for pharmacists?
Okay, so what you're doing at Avenue Healthcare, basically we have the pharmacy committee that meets on every weekly basis, yeah? And all the pharmacists and farm techs within our organization are part of this meeting. What is discussed in this meeting basically is, are we following up on rational use of medication, yeah? We know several people, you get a cold, you run to the chemist, you take azithromycin, you take your vitamin C and all that, but then is that rational use of the medication? Do you need the antibiotics for a common cold? Do you need the antibiotics for COVID infection? Yeah. So by rationalizing the use of medication and by having these several meetings every other week, we are able to bring down the cost of managing patients.
Thank you so much. This one is addressed to Mr. Imran and also Mr. Frederick. I don't know who will take it up, so let me just ask. This from Dr. Vincent Nyandoro. Novel technologies such as 3D printing bring exciting opportunities for preparation of personalized medicines. Where is the place of novel formulations in the expanding scope of pharmacy practice? Where is the place of novel formulations, the new formulations, in the expanding scope of pharmacy practice? Anyone? Okay, maybe we can take the next. This one is addressed to Mr. Frederick. Patient-centric drug product pharmaceutical design offers the opportunity to meet the needs and preferences of patients. How is the ministry supporting innovations in the industry to achieve this objective? And that's the last question.
Thank you very much. I think there was the question on supporting the preparations. And I think as we move on, we are championing the issue of manufacturing. And with this, we look at the collaborations with the different companies that are coming in. And I think even Kisumu, we are going to have groundbreaking for the first pharmaceutical industry next to Great Lakes University. It's a partnership again between the county, Great Lakes University, and another farm. That is to enhance training for students, pharmacy students, and at the same time make drug commodities available to ease or lower the cost of access to healthcare services. That is towards achieving universal health coverage. The other question was on how we are going to support innovations. Yeah, normally we have even conferences, and we also have conferences where we present innovations, and there's always we adopt, we reward, and sometimes if it is an application that we can use, we can always purchase that application to support us in provision of these health services, whether it is for dispensing or whether it's for education. So we support this, and normally we have innovations days. We have conferences where these innovations are presented, and then we either support by purchasing, giving awards where necessary, and do collaborations to support the innovators.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Let's appreciate them for answering our questions. Thank you so much for that once again. Let me invite the Dean to usher us into the next session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jim. So at this juncture, we want to present some gifts to our keynote speaker and our guest speaker. So I'll request Dr. Ruth to bring forth the gift. So for our keynote speaker, Mr. Fred, I'll request the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Research, to come and present the gift to Frederick, Mr. Frederick Oluoch, OGW.
Once again, we express our gratitude to the guest speaker and the keynote speaker. They have done a splendid job. We have been educated. We know so much now, isn't it? So why don't we give them another hand clap? Our keynote speaker and our guest speaker, ladies and gentlemen, in the university, we have, of course, my office, which has already been announced, but we also have the office of the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of administration and finance. And we are honored this morning to have with us Professor Ronald Chepkelot, our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of administration and finance. May I kindly invite him to come up here and present the gifts to our guests.
Let me now invite Mr. Imran Yusuf to come and receive the gift. So thank you very much. So at this juncture, we'll take a 10-minute break, but the purpose is for us to take a photo. So I'll request our guests, our members of university management, our faculty, and student representatives to walk to the Health Sciences Complex where we are going to take the photo. And then after the photo, please come back. We continue with the deliberations. Thank you. Okay, so please I'll request us to walk shortly to the Health Sciences Complex where we'll take a photo. And please come back soon after. We will continue with the deliberations. Thank you.
Then there's some sodas. Okay, there are some sodas for you guys and some biscuits after the photo shoot. You'll have them here. Some sodas and some biscuits.
Yes, you did. I will sing your praises forever, my Savior and King. My soul sings, my spirit shouts, with every breath I'm crying out. I want to live for you alone. You have captured my heart. Mi corazón. Lord, I give you my whole heart. Mi corazón. Well, I will give you glory. Tell a wondrous story how you rescued me. I'm the guilty one. praise his name, all you saints of God. Sing for joy. Oh, sing for joy to God, our strength. Oh, sing for joy to God, our strength, our strength. Draw near to him, he is here with us. Give him your love, he's in love with us. He will heal our hearts, he will cleanse our hands. If we rend our hearts, he will heal our land. Yes, he will. Oh, sing for joy to God, our strength. Oh, sing for joy to God, our strength, our strength. If we call to him, he will answer us. If we run to him, he will run to us. If we lift our hands, he will lift us up. Come now, praise his name, all you saints of God. Draw near to him, he is here with us. Give him your love, he's in love with us. He will heal our hearts, he will cleanse our hands. If we rend our hearts, he will heal our land. Yes, he will. Oh, sing for will be healed, for you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. Sing it with me. Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. Oh, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. For you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. Jeremiah 17:14 says, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved, for you are my praise. Nobody would doubt if Jesus touched you at this moment that you would be healed. You know, the same power is inherent in God's word. When his word touches you, brings healing. His word will not return void, but it will accomplish the purpose for which it's sent. He sent his word and healed us. Let's sing it back to him and let his healing come as we sing it. Heal me, Lord. Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. Oh, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. For you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. You are the one I praise.
A million miles above the sky, angels bow before your throne. You are God and God alone. That is the song they've been singing. All creation call you holy. Even now we bow before you. Worthy, worthy, worthy is the Lamb upon the throne. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift our voice to praise your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Heaven and earth adore you, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift our voice to praise your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Heaven and earth adore you, Lord.
You are high and lifted up, and your glory fills this temple. As we lift our voice in praise, come and dwell among your people. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. Worthy, worthy, worthy is the Lamb upon the throne. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift our voice to praise your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Heaven and earth adore you, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift praise your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Heaven and earth adore you, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We lift our voice to praise your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Heaven and earth adore you, Lord. What can I give? What can I bring that would be pleasing to my King? Well, I'll give my heart, not just a part. I'm lifting up my everything. Well, it's all I have to offer, and it's all I have to give. Two hands and one heart, one life to offer you. Two hands and one heart, that's what I give to you. Use me today, I know you can. Lord, I surrender to your plan. You made this heart, and you made these hands. Take me and use me as I am. Well, it's all I have to offer, and it's all I to meet him in clouds of the sky. His perfect salvation, his wonderful love, I'll shout with the millions on high. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. He hideth my life in the depths of his love and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. You know my needs, all that's unspoken. You hold the pieces of all that's been broken. Even when a melody won't come, even when my words are not enough, you will be my song, and you will be my praise. You will be my voice when I'm lost for words to say. You will be my strength, and you will lift me up. You will be my portion and my everlasting love. You will be my song. Before I call, I know you'll hear me. When hope is gone, still you are near me. Even when the answer is delayed, even through the darkness, I will say, you will be my song, and you will be my praise. You will be my voice when I'm lost for words to say. You will be my strength, and you will lift me up. You will be my portion and my everlasting love. You will be my song. Oh, yes, you will. You'll be my song. Even when I feel like I'm alone, I know you'll never leave me on my own. 'Cause you will be my song, and you will be my praise. You will be my voice when I'm lost for words to say. You will be my strength, and you will lift me up. You will be my portion and my everlasting love. You will be my song, and you will be and my everlasting love. You will be my song. Lord, I stand in the midst of a multitude of those from every tribe and tongue. We are your people, redeemed by your blood, rescued from death by your love. There are no words good enough to thank you. There are no words to express my praise, but I will lift up my voice and sing from my heart with all of my strength. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to the Lamb. Hallelujah, hallelujah. By the blood of Christ we stand. Every tongue, every tribe, every people, every land, giving glory, giving honor, giving praise unto the Lamb of God.
Lord, we stand by grace in your presence, cleansed by the blood of the Lamb. We are your children, called by your name. Humbly we bow and we pray.
Release your power to work in us and through us till we are changed to be more like you. Then all the nations will see your glory revealed and worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to the Lamb. Hallelujah, hallelujah. By the blood of Christ we stand. Every tongue, every tribe, every people, every land, giving glory, giving honor, giving praise unto the Lamb of God. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess you are Lord of all. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to the Lamb. Hallelujah, hallelujah. By the blood of Christ we stand. Every tongue, every tribe, every people, every land, giving glory, giving honor, giving praise unto the. Sing it again. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah to the Lamb. Hallelujah, hallelujah. By the blood of Christ we stand. Every tongue, every tribe, every people, every land, giving glory, giving honor, giving praise unto the Lamb of God. Giving praise unto the Lamb of God. Giving praise unto the Lamb of God. Jesus Christ, Lamb of God. God is good all the time. He put a song of praise in this heart of mine. God is good, so good all the time. Through the darkest night, His light will shine. God is good. God is good. Yes, He is. God is good all the time. God is good all the time. Put a song of praise in this heart of mine. God is good all the time. Through the darkest night. His light will shine. God is good. God is good all the time. If you're walking through the valley, there are shadows all around. Do not fear.
One, two, mic check.
Okay, excuse everyone. Okay, this is just like a quick notice. Okay, tunastahili after tumemaliza kunywa hizo masoda, tuweke mabottles kwa hizo macrates zenye ziko pale, alafu tufanye haraka the session is yet to start again. Yeah. So kindly, let's do quickly, tumalize na hizo masoda, tuweke machupa pale, then we settle for the session, the coming session. Thank you.
Unajua issue ni gani? Hapa inakuanga imepea a certain channel. Okay, this but hapo haikuwork. Nikadhani mic ingine bado nikadhani kuna kona yake. Issue ilikuanga hiyo acapella mic. Unaona level zake zilikuwa
Okay, excuse. So like, due to time, you will just have to settle with the bottles wherever you are. Yeah. Msizipeleke huko, just complete your business and just settle with them.
Please, let's settle down. Let's settle down so that we can go to the next presentation. And it's only one presentation, then we break for lunch. So please, let's settle down. Waheshimiwa, please, let's settle down. Let's settle down so that we can go to the next session.
This is his word. I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. And I sent my word, and I healed your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. This is God's word. It's his promise. In Exodus 15, verse 26, he says, I am the God that healeth thee. In Psalm 107, verse 20, he sent his word and healed us. The Bible says his word will not return void, but it will accomplish the purpose for which it is sent. God's word in the name of Jesus is more powerful than cancer, heart disease, or any disease that you can name today. So let's put his word on our lips and let his healing come to us as we sing it to him. You are the God that healeth me. Let his healing come as we sing it. You are the God that healeth me. You are the Lord, my healer. You sent your word and you healed my disease. You are the Lord, my healer. Sing it. You are the God. You are the God that healeth me. You are the Lord, my healer. You sent your word and you healed my disease. You are the Lord, my healer. You sent your word and you healed my disease. You are the Lord, my healer. Yes, you are. We give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because he's given Jesus Christ, his Son. Give thanks.
Now we can settle down. And before we get to the next session, I would like to have some 1 or 2 students come up so that they can tell us what they think about this conference and what they have learned so far. Just 2. 2 students. What have you learned, or what do you think about the first session that we had in the morning? Let me have some 2 serious students to give their opinion about the first session. Any student with anything? You are disappointing me. Any student that would like to come up? Okay, let's go to the second session. And right now, it's my pleasure to invite our now it's not the keynote speaker. Now is going to speak on his behalf, Mr. Frederick Olwach, to talk on the complementary and alternative medicine in pharmaceutical care. So please, let's settle down as he comes. Welcome. Welcome, Director. Please, let's appreciate him as he comes.
Yes, we have it.
Okay. You have another one for projecting?
Yeah, this one is
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. It was already here. It's okay.
Yes. Thank you, Karibuni. Welcome back. Good after tea. Good after tea. Thank you very much. We are going to have the next session on complementary and alternative medicine, the Kenyan landscape. That's presented by myself, Frederick Oloch. We can go ahead and start by defining what it is. What is this complementary or alternative medicine? So that is, I'll say CAM as abbreviation. And basically, these are non-conventional approaches to healthcare that are outside of mainstream medical practices. So we have the conventional practices, and these are now non-conventional. So basically, the CAM, the complementary and alternative medicine, includes practices such as massage. Do you know massage? Yes, massage, acupuncture, tai chi, and drinking green tea. Do you know green tea? Yes. So, and it has benefits. So, this was recognized by WHO as a source of primary health care since 1976. And the emphasis, it emphasizes on holistic healing, holistic healing. And when we talk about holistic, then we are talking at individual as a whole, the mind and the whole body. And you know the definition of health: spiritually, physically, mentally, spiritually, and not just mere absence of a disease. Focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit connection. Examples, we have the traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, naturopathy, and homeopathy. And we'll be defining what they are. We'll explain to you what actually they are. So if you talk about naturopathy that I was mentioning, then you are looking at the disease control without using drugs. You are managing a disease without using a drug. You are using natural techniques such as diet, exercise, and even massage. I think then in homeopathy, we are looking at now the use of natural substances. For example, sometimes if you have flu,
you normally find people using some leaves or even using something like what? What do you use? At home, when you have flu, you can take ginger. What else can you take? Yes, lemon, good. So we have integrative medicine. And when we talk about integrative medicine, then this is an approach where we recognize, so we practice both conventional and what we call and complementary. Conventional are now the standard therapies, what we practice in our hospitals, the standard practice. So we practice both conventional and complementary therapies, which I basically explained what it is. And I said, now we are making use of what? Our traditional medicine. Yeah, so we can do things like acupuncture or yoga. And acupuncture, we are using some thin needles to do what? To prick those where if there's a swelling, you put in there. And this is because we believe that there are some energies that are being transferred. So you're trying to inject, and then yoga is basically exercise body movements. So complementary medicine is an unconventional practices which are used in addition to standard treatment or conventional methods. So it is also used together with the westernized biomedicine, like aromatherapy and acupuncture. We have alternative medicine. So what we need to understand is the difference between complementary medicine and alternative medicine. So in complementary, we use those practices together with conventional. But in alternative, we are only using one. We are only making use of traditional medicine, and we are not mixing it with the conventional drugs. So alternative medicine is used in place of standard treatment, e.g. Ayurveda medicine in China, and even chiropractic. So types of alternative medicine. I said alternative, we are only using that one, that medicine, and we are not using it in addition to anything. That is alternative. So when we talk about complementary, then our medicine complements the what? The conventional. But in alternative, we only use one, which is traditional medicine. So traditional Chinese medicine, we have the acupuncture, we have the herbal medicine, we have cupping, we have Tai Chi. And if you talk about cupping, it is ancient healing where there was suction, there's suction of the skin. So that was helping to relieve pain from the body, like headache, neck pain, back pain, yes. So, but then it had the problem that it could cause bruises during the process, and that could be a site for infection. We have Tai Chi, which is more of a martial act, movement of the body to help make somebody fit and healthy. That is what we talk about, which basically we look at Tai, which they think is great, and then the Chuan, which is the fast or fast. So the whole thing is a coordinated body movement, which is basically to give you an exercise and make sure that you are healthy. So that is what we are talking about. So the health benefit of this is that it was very important for management of pain and also reduction of stress, as well as improving the overall well-being of a person. So Ayurveda is a herbal medicine, basically looking at dietary adjustments and then also yoga and meditation about the mind. So this was, I said it's practiced in India. It was in India, and basically it was meant to achieve harmony between the mind and the body. As I said, we are looking at health holistically. So it was, basically I think it's about energies, that there are some energies in the body, and the energies are what they were talking about, the Vata, Pitta, and the Kapha. Those are the energies in the body. So I said naturopathy, basically we are using natural means to manage a person. And here we talk about nutrition. So which still even conventional, we have nutrition. So here they talk about nutrition, we are talking about herbal medicine, hydrotherapy. Now here using water, whereas people will go and you can have a pool or having warm water. We have swimming pools, for example. We also have the warm baths, yeah. And then physical therapy, yeah, just a physical activity to make sure that you're fit. So the philosophy is the supporting the body, it supports the body innate ability. And when we talk about innate, then we are talking about immunity. And if you look at immunology, we have what? Natural and what? So natural is the innate immunity that your body develops by itself. And then, of course, there is the acquired immunity, which is sometimes artificial, because you're putting in some vaccines also. Then modality here is focused on maintaining good health and preventing illnesses. So the benefits of alternative medicine, number one is holistic approach. It treats the whole body of the person. It takes care of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And not just looking at the symptoms, where you say you have a flu, you give a drug to prevent that flu because you think it is because of an allergic reaction. You are going to indicate maybe H1 blockers, even if it is cetirizine or what, to stop that symptoms. So here we are looking at the whole body. The other thing is that it takes care of natural remedies, where we have the herbal, botanical, that means you're getting them from plants, and then nutritional supplements, and it also emphasized on lifestyle modification. So lifestyle can include what you eat, it can also include what you do, whether it is occupation, sedentary or not, and as well as your behavior. It also takes care of your behavior. Then we also have fewer side effects, generally, compared to pharmaceutical drugs. Because most of the time, if you are having a flu, for example, and we are going to give you sore throat or flu, and we give you a ginger, or we give you lemon, it's not going to be compared to a situation where we have given you some cough syrups with some sedative, maybe cetirizine or Piriton, and then you will be sleeping while the other person will not be sleeping. And then it also prevents, because these are natural materials, there's now little issue of side effects and even adverse drug reactions. So it promotes self-care. It encourages an active role in own well-being. When you are sick, there's what we call the sick role. So the sick role, there is yourself who is sick. You must accept that you are sick. And the role of the sick is to seek treatment and take drugs. So this promotes, because it offers counseling, guidance, and they make use, they emotionally involve you, and you feel like you are sick, and you need to take the remedies that they're giving you. So, like I said, the sick role, you will take your role. Then the supporting social structures, the family, they will always support you. And then, you are within the house, you have your people around you, unlike where you are in the hostel alone, and you're not, so your mental health probably is not well taken care of. Herbal remedies. So we have some herbal remedies which involve using plants. We can have plant extracts, and we can also have botanical preparations for medical purposes. And I know you learn all this in pharmacognosy. So there's also century of use. So this was practiced in various cultures 1,000 years ago. But even now, some people are still practicing this. That's why we want to incorporate this and see how best we can make use of the both alternative and conventional, and we are talking about complementary medicine. So most popular form of traditional medicine, and then immense contribution to health, especially in resource-limited setting. Those who are poor or in the rural facilities, there are some far areas where there are not even hospitals. They make use of this traditional medicine, or what we call complementary medicine. So it also contributes towards achieving universal health coverage. So natural products and their derivatives contribute up to 50% of all the drugs used in clinical settings. So you know the origin of, what are the origin of the medicine you use now? They are either coming from, they come from plants, animals, and what? Yes. So 50% of those drugs they're using are coming from plants. Which drug do you know that come from plant? Where does quinine come from? Quinine? And even those drugs that we have now, if you look at them, you will still end up going back to plants. So the common herbs, examples we have, echinacea, ginger, turmeric, chamomile, and even ginseng. Do you know ginseng? This one is there in pharmacognosy. Ginseng. You know it? Yeah, so this one, I remember when we were studying pharmacy, we used to, after learning this, we will use this one so that we get energy to read more. But sometimes we used to forget about everything. So applications, they are used in different conditions. And some of these are digestive issues, inflammations, sleep problems, and even for the immune support, to support our immune system. So complementary and alternative medicine in Kenya, we are looking at the past. We will look at the past, we look at the present, and we look at the challenges and way forward. So if the herbal medicines were only treatment in pre-colonial era, Snivo, yes, because I said if I was talking about pharmacy, and I mentioned this was a practice that started a long time ago as dispensers, compounders, and that was sometime back in 1924 or so, and later developed like that. So before that time, they're only using the complementary and alternative medicines, which basically are traditional medicines. Then different ethnic communities had unique practices and products. I think even up to now, the Maasai community still have what? They have herbal remedies. Is it true? And they walk around and sell them. And it is a very common drug. People are using it. So this was discredited, outlawed by the colonialists, using what we call the Witchcraft Act of 1925. So remember, I mentioned it started in 1925, and then 1925, they now say we now have what? We have a what? Conventional. So all these are witchcraft. So they brought in Witchcraft Act to bring it to an end, and then this practice continued illegally because now it was considered a witchcraft. It continued illegally, and then parts of Cap 67 was repealed in 1962, and in 1978, WHO encouraged embracing alternative medicine. And what do you know about 1978 and WHO? What do you remember? If you mention 1978 and you're mentioning WHO, what do you remember? What is it? Alma Ata. What happened there? The primary health care. Sawa sawa. And now we are saying health for all by the year 2000. And now this was going to bridge the gap and help us expand access to primary health services. And even now we are talking about this today because we are talking about universal health coverage. And we can only achieve this through incorporation of what? Complementary and alternative medicine. So in 1985, then the assembly recognized it was also then 1985 alternative medicine was recognized by the government of Kenya as part of rich cultural heritage. And you know where it is now. Basically, registration is done at the Ministry of Culture and Heritage. So the late Professor Julius Mwangi, 1953 to 2023, pioneered pharmacognosy at the University of Nairobi. Complementary and alternative medicine in Kenya, the present practice. So what happens now? So we talk about biodiversity and the vast cultures with many remedies. So each and every community, they have their own traditional medicine and how they use it. So the usage is different among the communities. So the plants were harvested for local use, and we also have they are used as starting materials for conventional medicines. And we talk about the coconut tree and the rest. Then they are source of revenue, they are source of medication, and the plants also source of nutrition. So the more popular in rural areas, they are more popular traditional medicine, or whatever we call the complementary and alternative medicine, the CAM, is popular in rural areas than the conventional medicine. Did I say that? And I said this is basically because of lack of access to conventional medicine and even health facilities. So Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage registers the what? The practitioner. Remember I said in 1985 that they recognize it as a rich what? Culture. And now this was put under Ministry of what? Sports, Culture and Heritage. And that's where registration is going on. So the Practitioners Association, like the National Traditional Healers Practitioners Association, NATEPA, that is a association that is taking care of people who are practicing alternative medicine. And then we also have drugs going on, the Drug Analysis and Research Center, DARU, at University of Nairobi, School of Pharmacy. So examples of herbal remedies in Kenya. We have the Prunus africana, which is the African cherry, muiri ama pygium. The bark is used for prostate disorders and urinary tract issues. We also have Carissa edulis, which is the mountain berry, Amatunglu berry, which is also used in digestive issues, e.g. diarrhea. We also have others like the East African hat. Its bark is used for respiratory tract infection, GI disorders, and also even skin infections. We have aloe vera. You know aloe vera? You know aloe vera? Yes, that one I know you must. That one you must study in pharmacognosy. There are some properties that it has that you need to know. So this one is also common in Kenya, and if you move towards the part of Eastern, they even plant a lot of this. And if you go even in shops, if you want to buy mafuta ya kupaka, you will get those lotions which are made of aloe vera. So basically, the gel from leaves used to soothe skin irritations. The work is to soothe skin irritations, burns, and even wounds. So We also have the neem tree, mwarubaini. The neem tree also has antimicrobial properties, and it is used for skin conditions, oral health, and also immunity. So when you are growing up, if you are sick, they will get you mwarubaini. Then dawa concoction. You know dawa? Dawa concoction, what is it made of? It's made of ginger, very popular during COVID-19 and even now. And people are taking it during COVID-19 because it was helping in alleviating symptoms, soothing your throat, and also building your immunity. And it's basically a concoction of ginger, lemon, and what? Honey. Ginger, lemon, and honey. So those are the ingredients. So if you compare that, if you look at that, I know you already used dawa, and you are also using the drugs like vitamin C, azithromycin, and cetirizine. I don't know how you compare. Do you want to say that we could have used dawa only, or it was better if they are put together? So that's where we talk about complementary medicine. And we think if you put them together, you get good health outcome. What are the challenges? So that's the present practice. But what are the challenges? The stigmatization due to poor perception and attitudes. If somebody tells you that they have traditional medicine, have you met the Maasais? What if they want to give you? How do you respond? So some take, some also have poor perception and attitude. So they say, I can't take what I don't know. There are also people are using. So there is gaps in conservation of medicinal plants and indigenous knowledge. So there are those plants which have medicinal value. So when we are destroying forests, we are destroying all of them, and now they are getting distinct. At the same time, there are people who knew those plants with medicinal value and what they treat. Because of generational change, as they die, they're not leaving this information to those, the young ones. So that's why we have to talk about this. Then we have modernization. Modernization, sisi ni nini? Tuko digital, sinivo. So we want digital things, yet we have something which is natural that can support us. So we are talking about complementary medicine. We use what we have now, and we can also use the other traditional medicine. Then there's exploitation of communities that own the knowledge. There are these scientists, and I know there are people taking pharmacognosy, even their masters. So when they're doing their own project, they go to communities, ask them about these plants, what they think it treats, and then they come back, extract their components, try to do a study with it, and then publish as the owners of that knowledge without even citing the person who gave them. So the issue of exploitation, some are taking them for free, some are destroying the plants. So there's basically exploitation. There's the issue of dosage, efficacy, and quality. And when you talk about dosage, those traditional medicine, we do not know the exact amount that is going to produce therapeutic effect. If it is not therapeutic, it is adverse. Sinivo. So the dosage that is going to give us therapeutic effect versus what is going to give us adverse effects is not yet known. So what we want to say is the studies done, scientific research, to actually find out whether they're effective at what dosage. And at what dosage does it produce therapeutic, and at what dosage does it produce adverse effects. Of course, the efficacy, basically, are they able to produce therapeutic effect, and then the quality. When we talk about quality of medicine, then we talk about safety of that medicine. So that means for a medicine to be declared that it is safe, then it must have gone through preclinical and clinical up to phase 3, 4, where 3B, and then 4, where we are talking about post-market surveillance. And then we are sure that the drug is safe for use. After we start with safety phase, which is phase 1, then we have phase 2, which are talking about safety and efficacy phase, and then phase 3, which basically we are talking about safety, but we are looking at the efficacy, and then we have post-market surveillance. Then there is the knowledge gap on adverse reactions, herb-drug interactions. So like I said, when you take herbals like St. James wort, I think you learned about that. It is one of the herbs that interact with most conventional medicines. So that brings about drug-drug interaction. But remember, there's drug-food interaction also. So these are not clear, and we don't know because no scientific research has been done to identify or find out whether such adverse reactions are there. Then irrational use. There are people who misuse this traditional medicine. When they see Mama Wadawa, ama Masai passing, they just say, nipatie kikombe moja. Irrespective of whether they are sick or not. They are saying they are cleaning their system. So that is rational use. Then inadequate national policy and regulation. There is no proper national policy on this. And at least lately, they are giving a direction. But we also think that why don't we have a complementary and this alternative medicine committee? Because you look at it, it is registered there at the Ministry of Culture and Heritage, but the Pharmacy Apostles Board is also on this side looking at the safety. So why don't we have a board or an advisory committee that can look at registration and even looking at how we can do a research, scientific support, so that we see whether all these issues we talk about, dosage, safety, efficacy, can be looked at, and then we preserve our traditional medicine and make use of them. It works in India. It works in China and in Africa. Ghana is far much ahead. They even have village advisory councils. And in Ghana, I think over 70 to 80% of traditional medicine is used. Again, if you come to Tanzania, there is also wide use there, and there are policies to this. But Kenya is still lagging behind, and we're waking up now and saying that we must have complementary medicine. We make use of alternative medicine and now the conventional medicine. So we are talking about inadequate policy, and I think we need to look at that. Supporting laws and policy documents, we have national cultural policy on culture and heritage. We have national environmental action plan. We have national policy on traditional knowledge, genetic resources, and folklore. Then we have system of paper on traditional medicine in Kenya. We have Science, Technology, and Innovation Act of 2013. And then we have Natural Products Industry Policy of 2014. Those are the policy. The future. So the complementary alternative medicine in Kenya, the future. What should we do? We are moving forward. So we need a concerted campaigns and effort to highlight the positive aspects of alternative medicine. We also need to lobby the government to recognize traditional medicine as a profession. We need to look at our education system. So the education system should incorporate the aspect of alternative medicine. And I think we are here in Kabarak University, School of Pharmacy. We need to start from there. When somebody is doing pharmacognosy and they are going for their thesis, then they need to go for those plants, extract some beneficial substance, try to find some dosage, efficacy, and whether they are safe. And if we get even one drug from those plants, with all those parameters, then I think we'll be good to go. But I'm saying we need to have what? A council that is going to champion for research on traditional medicine and get funding to support the practice. So training on sustainable harvesting practices to preserve plant habits. I said they're destroying. So when they harvest, they uproot the whole plant. So we also have to need sustainable harvesting, and the policy should be there to protect natural resources, especially of plants' origin, which are of medicinal value. Documentation of types, distribution, and ecology of medicinal plants. Ecology basically is the environment where you can find them. Where do we get them? The niche. Then encourage collaboration between practitioners and researchers. So what we need to do as a country is to identify and have a list of those traditional medicine practitioners and incorporate them into our mainstream healthcare system. And then we do research from those medicine and come up with what? Our own Kenyan traditional medicine. And this happened because we used to have traditional birth attendants. How did we do away with it? By bringing them into our system, getting them something for motivation, and then we work together. Promote intellectual property rights to safeguard owners and community. Because they're the ones who found it, they're the owners, we must protect their intellectual property. Not that somebody is coming to steal their knowledge and going to register their own. Then proper regulation, policy, regulatory framework, and research to inform policy. Opportunities for pharmacists. We have drug research and development through pharmaceutical companies. We also have research institutions like Cambridge doing clinical trials. I worked there before for a very long time, even as a vaccine manager. And what we are doing were clinical trials. Even the current malaria vaccine, that's what we did. We even did some infant TB vaccine, and even the adult, though those ones are not yet concluded. We also had even some drugs, like uratacin. So these are areas where the pharmacists can work and apply their knowledge. Then we also have regulatory bodies like the Pharmacy Apostles Board, but we're also thinking of alternative medicine regulatory board. That's a proposal, if they can have alternative medicine regulatory board. Because the Pharmacy Apostles Board is on pharmacy practice, but now this is wider than pharmacy. Alternative medicine, if you can have the board to take care of this, come up with policy, direction, and then we can have that in Vision 2030 or even 2050, and we'll have our own alternative medicine originating from Kenya. Then we have quality control laboratories. You can also work there, looking into doing assays there, those who do pharmacognosy, whether you want to do chromatography, thin layer, or whichever. And then in academia, we have pharmacists even training you here. Yeah, those are areas and where they can work. Yeah, so when you have pharmacognosy, you can either go to practice or you can still come and teach here. You can also do research, apply for research grants, funding, and then you do research on this. In conclusion, alternative medicine and herbal remedies offer holistic approach to health and wellness. Personal choice, it is important to make informed decision and find the best approach that suits your needs. That means we need to have alternative medicine and conventional. Collaboration, there should be collaboration, integrating alternative medicine with conventional healthcare to provide comprehensive approach to well-being. We also have under empowerment, we need to do empowerment, ensure active role in individuals' health, exploring natural options, and seeking professional guidance. And lastly, opportunity to utilize research and drug discovery gaps. I think I've talked about this, research and drug discovery. So like I said, if you can't have an alternative committee, we can have advisory so that we produce our own alternative medicine, which is Kenyan origin. I think that's all, and that is my reference, WHO 2013, Daniel Gakuya, and Michelle Okumu. Michelle Okumu is a PhD pharmacy, I think pharmacology and toxicology, and we work with him in the county government of Kisumu. He's also a lecturer at Kabianga. So you can see some of the publications that they have done. I know, yes. So I think up to there, I think that is what we have to share today. Thank you.
Thank you, our speaker, once again. Let's give a big round of applause to him again. What has really captured most of the students' attention is the Witchcraft Act of 1925, and we can't forget that. Okay, let me get back to the audience so that we can pick a few questions to be answered by our speaker. Let me begin from the students. Students, yes, there's someone there. Oh, no, let me see the number first. How many? I can see one. Someone else? Questions? Okay. So I'll only... Someone else? Okay, it's the only one. From students, yes.
Okay, the other day we saw that Kisii University, in collaboration with Kisii County, launched a publication on a book that contains traditional medicines, which was written by traditional men and women who are gathered over a period of 10 years to aid in transition of the information from the traditional men to the student in Kisii University pursuing pharmacy. In Kisumu County, what are you doing to ensure that we have that transition of information from that traditional man or woman in the village to a student pursuing pharmacy in Maseno University? Thank you.
Thank you so much. From the staff? From the faculty? Okay, Dr. Gaja.
Thank you, Dr. for that illuminating presentation. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on this, how to create these policies, because I remember we worked for many, many years in the Ministry of Health, plus a number of other government agencies to create a policy on traditional medicines. But sometimes it seems to me we keep talking, but we never do anything. So what do you think, or what have you seen in recent times that we can actually have a policy which involves bodies like KEMRI, you mentioned, because it's a traditional medicines and drug research center that has been there for more than 30 years, doing research on the same traditional medicines. But we keep on just sort of dancing around the topic, not really getting somewhere with these policies. What do you think how do you think we could do things differently to have this as part of Vision 2030? Because I remember when we were discussing it, it was actually towards implementing Vision 2030 from that aspect of complementary and alternative medicines.
Okay, you can even answer from this, fine.
Oh, there's another one.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Mine is in regard to the standardization of these products. That's a very difficult area, especially really being able to standardize them in regard to dosage and all that. So as Kenya, what are we going to do in that area? What have successful countries like China done so that these products have become very, very common, knowing that the standardization is a big challenge?
I know Fred is wondering why I can't just ask him direct. Yeah, so anyway, that was a good presentation, Fred. Mine is just a concern, and maybe pharmacists will help to elaborate further. At what point do we draw the line? This is conventional medicine, this is herbal medicine. For example, is it the packaging, is it the processing, is it the content? Because we've interacted with things like GNLD. Are those herbal medicine? Are they conventional medicine? Also, the medicine we use, majority is from plants. So basically, we can say it's a herbal thing because it's from plants. Yeah, so at what point do we say this is now conventional and this is herbal? And of late, we've also seen, like example, cough syrups like HTC, some ascoril herbal syrup. So it's a bit a gray area.
Just one last point, Dr. When we study topics like drug metabolism, we read in the literature that there are quite a number of drug interactions between commonly used herbal medicines like ginseng and other things like that with normal medicines, and yet patients will come to where Dr. Imran and his team work, but they're also taking these traditional herbal medicines which are interacting. Sometimes they can induce enzymes or can inhibit certain drug metabolizing enzymes. And this is quite a concern because the patient can come and have some serious interaction and nobody knows what they've taken. So what are your thoughts on that? The use of both of those at the same time, especially from the patient perspective where people are making a lot of their own decisions right now.
Thank you very much. I think those could be enough. Well, so looking at, talking about patients using drugs, the herbal drugs and conventional drugs, and having drug interactions, I think I mentioned here that we need to do some research on some of these traditional medicines so that we know their content and the possible interaction that they can have on the conventional drugs. At the same time, some of them are also having food-drug interactions. So it is important for us to find out, do a research on that. I think the difference between conventional drugs and the herbal drugs is that the conventional drugs have gone through preclinicals, clinical trials, and even post-market surveillance. So they are already researched on. While herbal drugs, remedies, they are not known. They're only known by the user. Their components are not known. Their efficacy is not known. The quality and safety profile is not known. The dosage is not known. So, like I said, these can only increase chances of interaction with the conventional drugs. And I mentioned St. John's wort, St. John's wort, which I said interact with almost every drug. And especially those who are using ARVs and using those ones, normally there's high interaction. Yeah, and increasing adverse drug reactions even from the ARVs. So I think that's the difference. The issue of policy. Kenyans are very good at making policy. Kenyans are very good at making policy, but not implementing. That is why Rwanda has gone a lot of strides using our own policy and our own experts. So the next steps, like I said, can we have a complementary and alternative medicine council or committee that is going to help us have a direction, implementation plan, roadmap, so that they can have like the village committees. I said Ghana has been very successful, and they even have a village committee that is vetting some of those traditional medicine. So if you claim you have, they look at it and they vet. They look if it can make sense. And then that is, they register it, forward it to the national. So then from there they can look at whether they can do some research on it and see whether it is efficacious. So I think that's the other way. The other question was on what?
Line of distinction between conventional medicine and alternative medicine, and
Yes.
between conventional medicine and complementary medicine.
Well, I already explained that alternative medicine are not yet explored scientifically. So we don't know the content, efficacy, safety, and the dosage. But conventional medicine is something that has been researched on from preclinical, the in vitro, in vivo, clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, safety, efficacy, safety, efficacy, and even post-market surveillance. So it is well-known product, which is of therapeutic value, but the other one is not known. We don't know even the interactions, adverse effects, side effects are not yet explored, so it's not known. I think that one I explained.
Then the second last,
yes.
Countries like China that use alternative medicine, what have they done that we can do in order to standardize these drugs in terms of dosage?
Yes, so that's what I've said. We need proper policy and implementation plan. At the same time, we must put up proper structures, having a well-designated, either the complementary alternative medicine committee or a council that is going to vet and register this traditional medicine. At the same time, give us a clear plan on implementation and say our vision is by 2050 or 2040, we will have achieved this. And when they explore this, they also provide even guidance funding for research so that we explore scientifically the content of those traditional medicine. We can know the drug interaction, the drug-food interactions, and even the adverse effects and the side effects of those drugs. Yeah.
Thank you. The last one is,
yes,
what can we do to ensure that the knowledge that is possessed by these people in the villages reach the classroom?
Very, very good question. Yes, I had that. That was a very good question. Number one, it calls for collaborations between the county governments, the national government, county government, and the learning institutions of higher learning, like Kabarak here, need to collaborate with the Nakuru County, Kisumu County, so that we have what we call a profile, a herbarium kind of, all the traditional medicine, their pharmacologic properties, what they think, or their medicinal value, and then they are very old people, and also support that generational transfer of knowledge on this medicine. So that means even the students who are taking pharmacy and pharmacognosy are supposed to do their masters, the thesis and this research from the community, such that we have something left behind. Their research should not be for the sake of graduating, but provide a knowledge base for those who are coming to continue learning. So I think it's more collaboration. The county government, Ministry of Culture, the Pharmacy Sponsors Board, there need to be a wider collaboration to get this knowledge on traditional medicine from the people, and even also support generational transfer of knowledge on traditional medicine to their current people. Yes.
We can pick one from Dr. Meroka, then we go to the online participants. Huh?
Yes.
If at all there is any. Dr. Meroka.
Thank you, Doc. Mine is a follow-up question on the structures that I asked in the morning, which you said are work in progress. So even as you're putting these in place, these structures, I mean, to regulate the use of alternative medicines, what mechanisms are being put in place to protect those who are practicing the use of alternative medicine from exploitation and being completely phased out by the rich investors in the conventional medicine business?
I think in my presentation, there are some of, I mentioned some of the things that are supposed to be done. Did I say we are supposed to do what? To protect what? What were we supposed to protect? Protect? You can't remember? Intellectual property. Intellectual property. So that is why counties, you know, the counties, it is their people. The county assembly at the county level are supposed to come up with policy on traditional and alternative medicine, or traditional medicine, such that in those policies, they have clear regulations on how to protect, other than intellectual property, the source of those traditional medicine, protecting that environment, and even protecting the people from exploitation, where somebody comes, and I mentioned it there, that somebody comes, even a student comes, listens to you, take the plant, and is going to write that they are the ones who discovered it, and it is their own what? Their own innovation. So this must be protected. And you see, these people must come through the county. They cannot come without passing through the county. So it is upon the county to put in policy and legislation. They have to pass them to protect these people. At the same time, even now, without those policies, for any approval for any research, there is always approval from the county commissioner and even the county director for health. So they need to look at that. And then there is also need to have a specialist in pharmacognosy who should provide guidance and advisory to the county, who is supposed to work in hand with those who are going to do research. And for those who are coming to trade in this traditional medicine, of course, there is Department of Trade. They also need to look at this and put in policies that is going to guide trade in traditional medicine and even income to the people, the owners of the medicine, the resources, the initial resources, and even revenue to the county. Remember, I mentioned it is a source of revenue. And also how to protect the traditional medicine and even natural resources within the counties.
Thank you so much. Online team. Let's get a few from the online participants.
So remember, Ghana has implemented it. 70 to 80% now they're making use of traditional medicine. And you know, in Ghana, if you go to the hospital, there is section for traditional medicine, and there's a section for conventional medicine in the same hospital. And the person dispensing them are the same pharmacist and the pharmaceutical technologist. So they have knowledge on interactions. It is well documented. That's why I challenged the university every learning institution, the research institutions, that we need to explore scientific research on this traditional medicine. Let us know their component, possible medicinal value or pharmacologic response, the adverse effects, therapeutic, and possible food or drug interactions. Once we document that, then we will be capable to dispense it even in our own health facilities. But I'm telling you, counties are geared towards achieving this complementary and alternative medicine. And there's serious partnership with universities. Like Kisumu, we've partnered with JKUAT, Maseno, Kisii, and Masinde Muliro. And we are coming up with a policy direction on this and possible regulations for implementation of traditional medicine in Kisumu County. I think that's a challenge to all counties, and even the national government need to rethink and have complementary and alternative medicine council, bringing in different experts and engaging stakeholders. Already, we have a list of those who are practitioners. So we can pick from there, listen to them, and see the best way forward that can be beneficial for the whole country and even the practitioners. Thank you.
We have online participants.
We have 3 questions from the online team. And the first one is, we are moving towards patient-centered healthcare. Telemedicine cannot monitor patient adherence to medication and other drug-related factors. How does the county ensure that the patient adherence is well tracked?
Well, thank you. The issue of patient adherence starts from the point of dispensing. So what we are making use of applications like the ones we use in the private pharmacies, Maisha Meds, like for Kisumu County we use Maisha Meds, and that shows who the drug was dispensed to. There is medicinal use counseling and adherence counseling at the point of issuing the drugs. And of course, if it is a chronic illness where the patient will be coming back, then it is very easy to monitor adherence. But for those who are going for they've taken medicine, they're just going for home, we only have the community health workers who visit their households to check on their progress and whether they are taking their drugs. But for those who are for chronic who come back, there is now the issues of self-reporting, the pill counts, and even looking at the system to account for their adherence levels. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. There is another question from Agnes Yator. To enhance timely access to healthcare services in hard-reach areas, County of Kisumu launched the first ever drone delivery of medical supplies in Kenya. What plans does the Ministry of Health have in making sure that these services are available in other counties?
Thank you very much. I said that we are flying with the eagles. Kisumu County is flying with the eagles. The drone that was launched was not for Kisumu County alone, but it was meant to supply drug commodities, emergency drugs, to LREB counties, that is Lake Region Economic Bloc counties. If you look at the newspaper, the same thing was launched, I saw somewhere in, is it Migori or Kisii? So the sustainability is that it has already a pool of customers, the clients. All the 14 counties in LREB counties are supposed to be supplied with the drones. And basically, it's for emergency drugs. I think it's going to be a game changer because with the drones, the surgeon can start surgery even if the blood is not there, and drone will deliver blood group O negative there, to be used by the doctor because there's not going to be a reaction anyway. So that it will like 5 to 7 minutes and it will be delivered there. So we are looking into seeing that there is going to be reduced maternal mortality, especially for mothers who are giving birth, because the blood will be available. There is going to be a reduction in number of people, morbidity, especially mortalities due to venomous snake bites, and also even for anti-rabies, which are delivered through the drones. Yeah. So I think for us, with that, because if they deliver, there's some amount that is paid for that. So as they do deliveries, and if they continue delivering more if they can operate more flights, let's say 100 in a day, then the cost goes down because there's now sharing of the cost sharing of the operation. Yeah.
And then the last question from David. What do you think of quantification of drug extracts as the yield is low normally and also need to conserve the ecological systems?
Come again?
I think David is asking, how do we balance between complementary medicine and the conservation of the environment?
Which is nice. We said, as we protect the intellectual property, we also protect natural resource. And remember, I mentioned the harvesting techniques. We are not going to uproot the whole plant. We need to protect the plant because it has medicinal value. So as we use it sparingly to save it for the future. So those are the things I mentioned. We need to have policies that is going to protect natural resource and even the owners of knowledge on traditional medicine.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the questions are well answered.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think I want to state that it is very important for us to consider looking at the complementary and alternative medicine, because in countries where they have exploited this, patients with chronic illnesses like sickle cell, diabetes, and even hypertension are reporting good health outcomes. So I think as a country, we need to rethink, we need to refocus, and reorient our health services, putting into consideration what we call complementary medicine, having both conventional and even traditional medicine. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's applaud him. Thank you so much, our keynote speaker. Allow me invite the Dean to give us the next direction on the course of action.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fred. I think that was a very insightful presentation. I hope you've learned a lot. You've interacted with the material. So now we will go for a break, lunch break, and then we will resume at 3 o'clock so that we continue with the other presentations. Thank you very much and see you at 3 p.m. Thank you.